Hello, Daz Studio enthusiasts. This is Not From This World, and I want to welcome you back to my tutorial series. Alright, so tonight I wanted to talk a little bit about aftermarket gens and how we can use them for more realism. Now, I actually prefer the Golden Palace gens, and I've talked about it a little bit like on a short and some other brief videos that I've made. But Golden Palace is a product that you can get from our favorite website, and it adds a lot of realism to your female characters. Now, we can add aftermarket gens to males too, but I'm going to focus on females because it's a little bit more YouTube friendly, and I can kind of demonstrate a few things. But you can get aftermarket gens for males and females. Today we're going to talk about the female Golden Palace. Alright, now this is a little tricky of a subject because I can't really show you extensively on YouTube some of the stuff I'd like to show you. So I'm going to try and be really discreet about this, keep this PG rated so that I don't have any problems with monetization of the video. When I made my adult content video a couple weeks ago, it got age restricted and things were crazy with it. So I'm going to try and avoid that for this video. But Golden Palace is really cool, and it is a product you have to buy, but I think it's really great. There are some other products out there, just your Genesis characters come with gens, and you can buy some other products that I can't even name right now on my YouTube channel. But if you go to our favorite site, you can check those out. Golden Palace, though, is something that I can kind of show you. I probably use it for just about every comic that I create. I have played around with some other ones, but this is the product of my choice. And once you have it downloaded, you can see I have it selected here. There are a couple versions of it. There's Golden Palace, the original, and then there's Golden Palace V2, which has some other features. But I think we're just going to start kind of with a demo with the original Golden Palace. And if you notice, it kind of comes with a hint here. So if you click on the hint, it just says to make sure your Genesis character is selected, and then select your Golden Palace. You'll want to copy the mat script, and then we can load it up. So for our basic Genesis Golden Palace, I'm going to show you with Milika. She's a Genesis 8, but we can buy Golden Palace for Genesis 3 and Genesis 9. I've used all three of them, and they work great. There are a little bit quirks with the Genesis 9, but if you learn the basics here with Genesis 8, all you do is have a couple more clicks on the product to get it loaded, and you're good to go. For Genesis 8, though, I'm going to select Milika, and I just come up here to the little female symbol, and I double click it. And you can see here that it's going to add the Golden Palace. So I'm going to go to my other camera, and you can see that the Golden Palace is now added. I tried to do a little teeny weeny bikini for Milika so you could see this as best you can. Once we have the Golden Palace installed, we're just going to hit this shell, and the shell is going to create color of the gens. Because of her bikini, we can't see it, but you'll be able to see detail after you get the shell. And then we're going to hit matte copy. And what matte copy does is it takes the texture of our character and it adds it to the shell of the Genesis Golden Palace. Now, Golden Palace is a shell. It's a geo shell. And remember, a geo shell is going to be a product that kind of sits right above the actual figure. So it's like a shell around the figure. And so by copying the texture, you can see it's seamless. And that's all there really is for the original Golden Palace. If we go to our parameters tab and select the Golden Palace, we can now select different parts of the Golden Palace, and we can use a bunch of morphs to add any adult feature that we want. So this is pretty cool. So the Golden Palace V2 version is a little more updated, and it comes with two choices, and honestly I'm not exactly sure what the difference is, but we have kind of the regular setup where it just says Genesis 8, and then we have one that is set up for Genesis 8 rigidity, which I don't really know what that does, and if you do, let me know. It might come in handy. I'm not sure, but we're going to just do the same thing. I'm just going to select the regular one, so I'm going to double click it, and you'll see that our gens will be added to our figure, and then we just do the same thing with the shell. So we're going to add the geo shell to the gens. All right, and then we're going to add the matte, which is going to copy the texture onto our geo shell. And at first it looks like it's the same as our original Golden Palace, but if we select the tab of the Golden Palace V2, we have some other options that we can use. So it's pretty cool. One of the things that's really cool about this is there's an add-on to the V2 for collision. So we can add a collision where we can choose an object that will collide and reshape our V2 Golden Palace gen. And the original Golden Palace doesn't have this collision. So what's cool about Golden Palace in general is there's lots of add-ons that you can use for them. One of the advantages to using the V2 version is that you get this collision. And if you're doing adult-oriented pictures, the collision can really help you get some more realism. As far as I know, the G3 and the G9 doesn't come with the collision add-on. But other add-ons will include things like the gen shape, textures, and then of course morphs, so we can change different parts of the gens. And both Genesis 3, Genesis 8, and Genesis 9 have these morphs. We can also get various hair, and our hair, it can be added to our Golden Palace to even add more realism. Some of the hair is just going to be geoshell, but some of the hair looks like hair. And I have a few hair props for Golden Palace that look absolutely perfect. So I highly recommend those as well. Now what's really cool is there's a lot of other products that are add-ons that are geoshells like our Golden Palace. And so, for example, if I go, it's one of the same products that is made by the same vendor as the Golden Palace, but there is a tongue add-on called Lickalicious that works really nice. And you can see if I select it, we can add the Lickalicious tongue to Milica. And this is a really cool add-on that adds a bunch of realism so that Milica could be licking a lollipop or licking something else, and we can get some really cool effects with it. And to load this, all we have to do is kind of the same thing where I select my Milica girl, and then we're just going to go here and do a full setup. So I just double click the full setup, we get the Lickalicious tongue, and then I can matte copy it, and it's going to copy the textures of Milica. Now, in this case, if we have both our Golden Palace gens and the Lickalicious tongue on the same character, we're going to have a conflict with the geoshells. And so it's kind of hard to see this, but our Lickalicious tongue is not correct with its texture. And I'm going to try and help you out here a little bit because we're going to make this longer. I'm going to extend the tongue, and I'll zoom in a little bit. And the reason why this occurs is because I suppose the character doesn't know which geoshell to use. So this can become a problem, and this is also very easily fixed with what we call the shell fix. So both my Golden Palace, if you look, has a shell fix, and that Lickalicious add-on has actually 2 shell fixes. So we have a shell fix 1 with it and a shell fix 2. So let me open up Milika's mouth just a little bit. So you can kind of see that her tongue is sort of a weirdo color, and it's not matching kind of the normal red tongue that we would expect. So I'm just going to kind of move her tongue so we can see this. So you can see that the Lickalicious tongue just isn't the right color. So what we need to do is we need to go in and select both the Golden Palace shell from her GENS and the Lickalicious tongue, and then we're going to do a shell fix. Now, which shell fix do we use? That is the trick. So in this case, because it's the tongue that is discolored, and if I go down, you'll notice my GENS are fine. So the GENS look good. The tongue is what is not colored correctly. So what we should be able to use is the tongue Lickalicious shell fix. Now, if our genitalia changes, we're going to want to use the Gen shell fix. But in this case, I put the GENS on first, so the Lickalicious geoshell is what's messed up. So I'm going to come into my character here, and I'm going to select the Golden Palace shell, then hit the control button and select the Lickalicious tongue. Then I'm going to come in and I'm going to do the shell fix. So let's try the shell fix 1. So I double click it and nothing seems to work. So I'm going to do the shell fix 2, and you can see it fixed the tongue's texture. So now the tongue is correct. So you may have to play around with shell fixes to get your textures correct if you're adding multiple geoshells onto your girl. Alrighty, so one other thing I want to show you regarding the Golden Palace is if we add any other geoshell to our character, we may need to run the shell fix. But if we do skin textures, like let's say I come down here to my skin and I choose a dirt geoshell, if I select that dirt geoshell, it's going to cover my girl with dirt, but I have no dirt on my GENS. Now, the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that the shell fix is in place. I'm going to select my layer of dirt that I just chose and use the control button to also select the Golden Palace shell. And I'm going to run up to the Golden Palace and just run the shell fix. So I'm going to shell fix it here, but you'll notice that my GENS are still messed up. So in order to fix this, we're going to need to do a little bit of manipulation. I'm going to zoom in here. Now I've shown this in a couple other videos, I believe, but I'll show it again here just because it's such a handy little fix and tool to use. So if I need to get my GENS the same as my dirt geo layer. So in order to do that, I'm going to go to the Surface tab and select the FX layer that is the dirt layer. And once I do that, I'm going to just click and drag and highlight all of the Golden Palace. Then I'm going to come up to my DAZ Studio formats, come down to my DAZ Studio library, come all the way down to shader presets, select the shader presets and go to iRay. From iRay, go to DAZ Uber. When I'm in DAZ Uber, I'm just going to double click on the Uber base. Once that's double clicked, I'm going to go back to my Surface tab, select Torso, right click, hit Copy. Then I'm going to just take and highlight the Golden Palace gens on the FX layer again, right click all of them and hit Paste. When I do that, I'm pasting the dirt geoshell to my gen geoshell, and now I don't have this issue. So just make sure that you kind of play around with that. This is one of these little hacks, and I tell you, it was super frustrating, and I never wanted to add geoshells to my character until I figured out this hack. So this hack is awesome. I have used dirt a lot since this hack. So I've got to say this hack is a game changer. I thought I'd also show you Genesis 9. So this is a Genesis 9 character, and Golden Palace for Genesis 9 is almost the same as Genesis 8. It does have a different choice. So it says we have Golden Palace Vanilla, and then we have Golden Palace Wild. I always seem to choose the Wild. I'm not really sure what the difference is, but the Wild one works really well. So in order to install Golden Palace onto your Gen 9 character, just make sure she's selected. Choose either your vanilla or your wild, double click that, and then this actually has one less step. You can see that her gens are created. I know her bikini's hiding them, but you can see that they're created, and then you're just going to create a matte, and that's going to put the correct texture onto your Golden Palace. And that's all there is to the Genesis 9. There is no shell. I mean, there is a shell on it, but you don't have to select it. It's actually part of the Golden Palace add-on. So you don't have to add that extra shell step. And I have to say that I am really happy with Genesis 9. Some of the additional products that come with the Golden Palace 9, some of the hair and stuff is just really nice. It looks very real. And so if you are working with Genesis 9, I highly suggest that you get Golden Palace for her as well. With Genesis 3, it's the same as Genesis 8. So it's that 3-step process. But I just thought I'd show you Genesis 9 because it's slightly different. I have been using more and more Genesis 9 characters with my comics, and a big reason for that is the realism of their textures. Our hair and stuff with Golden Palace looks spectacular, in my opinion, with Genesis 9. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of talk about these gens a little bit. If you are interested in adult content and you want to start using female gens, I just highly recommend Golden Palace. Now, this is in no way an endorsement. I'm not, affiliated with the creator of Golden Palace at all. I just use it for just about everything that I do. And hey, don't forget to like, subscribe, give me a few comments, let me know what you prefer, and until next time, happy rendering with your Golden Palace gens.